Welcome to The Author's Journey with #1 international best-selling author and in-demand publisher, Rebecca Hall Gruyter. Today, we'll showcase the works of an amazing best-selling author, find out the story behind their book, and explore ways to bring your message powerfully forward. Now, here's your host, Rebecca Hall Gruyter.
Welcome, everyone. Excited to be connecting in with you on The Author's Journey, where we take time with best-selling authors to really pull back the curtains and have them share what their journey was like to bring their book forward, what they discovered on the journey, how have they learned to be able to bring their message forward no matter what on the journey of becoming a best-selling author. So I know you're going to enjoy our guest. She is brilliant at embodying grace on her writing journey and in all that she does. And what a beautiful gift that is. And to help us learn how to embody grace on our journey as well. So it's my privilege and honor to introduce our amazing guest. And actually, I'm getting excited and wanting to jump right in. Let's take a moment before I introduce her to breathe and center. So let's take a moment, pause, breathe in through the nose, all the way to the toes. Just taking that moment to slow down helps us become present, helps us be open to receive. And especially as we're talking about embodying grace, that means our body needs to be part of this and present. So taking that breath to really become open and present. And our intention is to share wisdom and insights to support you on your journey. So as you're pausing and you're breathing and centering, I encourage you to get a piece of paper, a writing utensil, so that you can capture those thoughts or ideas that spark something within you, so you can bring that forward in your life as a writer, as a reader, to really be enriched by the conversation today. So have that paper and pen ready. Take another deep breath, opening your heart and your spirit to all that is to come in our conversation today. Beautiful. And with that, I am now excited to introduce our amazing guest. I know you're going to love her heart and spirit. Dr. Leyden has a PhD, an MBA, and is an internationally hailed trauma healing pioneer and visionary mentor. She's a #1 international best-selling author, and she has worked to support post-genocide communities in Rwanda, to helping different groups in Australia, refugee groups and indigenous groups, as well as those that have been affected by shootings in Newton and Parkland. So she's worked with people around the world that have been in high trauma situations to come through, to heal, to embody grace, and has spread that work to help thousands around the world find peace, comfort, and healing. She is passionate about helping you embody grace. Please lean in. Warmly welcome the powerful, dynamic, and heartfelt Dr. Leyden. Welcome.
Wow, that's even better than a drum roll. Thank you so much, Rebecca. How amazing to be with you today. It's the first time I've been interviewed after my #1 international bestseller status.
Well, you are so welcome, and I'm smiling from ear to ear as we celebrate that release of your book and so powerfully received. And we're excited to be the first to introduce you on our show as #1 international best-selling author, which is just a huge accomplishment. Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm excited to share that with you and to be able to honor that accomplishment and bring it forward. So congratulations again on your huge, huge success.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You are welcome. And I'd like to start our conversation with, why is this work of embodying grace personally so important to you, and why were you led to bring it forward in a book?
Well, this really is a result of my passion for healing my own childhood traumas and trying to bring in the most elegant and effective healing methods possible. And I've been on a lifelong journey to do this. And after a near-death experience in 2003, when I asked what was an effective healing tool that I could bring in, I received this formula called the grace process. And for the last 20 years, I have been practicing it myself and teaching it around the world. And it has a surprisingly amazing, amazing results. And really my vision is if everyone could feel that sense of inner safety and a sense of peace in their hearts and their minds and their bodies, this is how we will create global healing. And so I talk about how the time for spiritual practice is over because until and unless we truly translate our spiritual values into action, we're not really doing the work we came here to do, which is to heal ourselves and hopefully heal our planet as well. So really it was about getting this work into the hands of as many people as possible so that we could all realize that we are hardwired for our divinity based on our physiology. And you so beautifully grounded us this morning. And when we're in those grounded places, we have access to everything that we need to trust our life.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely. No, thank you. I appreciate you sharing and the work that you do and your desire to get it to as many hearts and lives and hands as possible to not only heal each of the individuals, but as it spreads out the world, and that we can be part of that as we lean in and connect together and discover the amazing formula and process that you have brought forward. So I'm so grateful and excited for the work that you do. And I wanted to just ask you from a author perspective, and this is something that you have been working on for 20 years. You've been teaching, you're an expert of experts in this, and decided to then let me bring this forward into book format. You felt led to do that. How did you go from that, I'm feeling led to do that, to actually making it happen?
The short story or the long story? No, I'll give you the short story.
The true story.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I originally published the Grace Process Guidebook in 2009 after having worked with the process for 5 years. And then I have been, since 2007, on the road doing humanitarian trauma healing work in the various places that you mentioned. So I had the idea, I kept writing notes, I knew I needed to bring the second edition forward in a more profound way with all of the things I had learned along the way. And then I began to feel this urgency, like, okay, 10 years is enough, you need to go write the next book. I did have a bulk of the manuscript ready, but truly in exploring the hybrid publishing options, realized very quickly that this was a really solid way to bring this forward. And I could say certainly a lot more about how easy you make the publishing process for us, and that in addition to that, you were able to really read the whole book and grasp all the material and help me really organize it more to be better and more powerful, I think. And that's a partnership in publishing that I don't think exists, well, in too many places, let's put it that way.
Well, thank you. We were honored and to be on the process and to be entrusted in that space of partnering with you to bring your powerful work forward. And so some of what I'm hearing is that it was a journey and then you listen to that kind of prompting, like now it's time, and sought that right path forward and finding a partner that can really help you bring it forward and reach those you're looking to reach, and that was really powerful for you. Did you have any surprises in that process as you reflect back and kind of think about the journey, that, wow, I didn't realize that would be the case, or something you discovered or learned that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Most definitely. So I was a published author before we started our journey, and I'm also someone who tends to want to do everything myself, I am not an expert in the publishing world. So I needed somebody who was an expert in the new paradigm of publishing in the world. And also, I just felt it was so great to simply release the process to somebody else that I trusted, and that literally made it so easy. Easy in the sense of I just followed directions. Yes, there was some hard work on my part, but I knew that it was all laid out in a way that someone else could manage the process, and I could do what I was best at, which is manage my expertise in this process, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, I love that. And I love that it felt good to have that support and to release, especially for someone that likes to do all the pieces and that kind of thing. So to allow that support in, and then it let you really focus in on your brilliance and what you're looking to bring forward. So I love that. I love it. Oh, I also know something that was really special and important to your book is the cover. And I always think covers are the journey is always different for every cover, every author. And that's kind of the bridge to the content and how the book shows up in the world. And so I'd love for you to share a little bit about the title of your book. We want to make sure people know the title, the title of your book, and the cover, and kind of why, a little bit of how it looks and feels, and maybe even the impact it's had.
Yes. So the title of my book is Embodying Grace, Trusting Yourself, Your Life, and Your Divinity. And the cover is so special to me. I feel like the cover transmits the energy that is inside of the book. And it was a group effort with RHG Publishing and my own vision. And it represents something integral to a message in the book. What you'll see on the book cover is a woman looking up out into the earth and space, which kind of represents the spiritual journey. And then there's a huge infinity circuit above that image, and enveloping the world. And in my work in traumatized communities around the world, I have worked really hard to develop what I call heart presencing, which is to be fully present in our hearts. And this graphic indicates, oftentimes we believe that there's a giver and there's a receiver. But when we meet in the sweet spot in the middle of that infinity circuit, there's only love, and we are all transformed. And this is the way that our world can be transformed as well. So to have such a powerful image, it really just makes my heart sing, honestly, that it has meaning and purpose just in looking at it. And I hope that it will evoke the same in other people, and it certainly has. I mean, the comments that I get, which I would say this cover is a bit outside of the box, so it's a bit vulnerable sometimes to put something like that out there. And so many people are just saying, oh my gosh, I can't wait to read the book just because of the cover. Now, I hope they get a lot more from the book. But you offer the opportunity to collaborate with your experts on this design. And the first time it came back to me, I was like, how could they possibly have put this all together? It was just, it was a true giving, receiving meeting in the sweet spot in the middle.
I'm so glad. And I love that it is already impacting people even before they have the book in their hands. It is starting to touch their spirit and kind of lay that groundwork and really call the reader to it that will be served. And that's just the magic a cover can have. And I celebrate your willingness to be a little bit vulnerable in sharing and allowing that part of yourself and that energy to come forward so it can reach and serve so many people. I just think that's really powerful and impactful, and it just helps continue that ripple. Well, we are getting ready to go to our first commercial break, and as we do so, listeners, I want you to think about some of the beautiful shares that Dr. Lori has already shared with us about that sweet spot in giving and receiving, about allowing and her modeling, following that leading and that guidance and being willing to be a little bit vulnerable and sharing so many rich things that she has already shared with us. And we'll continue our conversation in just 2 minutes.
Announcing a powerful new TV channel featuring programs designed to enhance and transform your life. Make powerful connections, one program at a time. And by doing so, we can bring transformation to the world. Tune in each week to Empowered Connections TV as we add new programs to help you make empowered connections of your own. Visit empoweredconnectionstv.com. That's empoweredconnectionstv.com. And make the most of an incredible life transformation.
Rebecca Hall Gruyter's Speaker Talent Search is looking for speakers wanting to get on more stages. With just one audition, you could open the doors to hundreds of speaking opportunities, reach more people, and expand your impact. Finalists get to audition live in front of leaders looking to fill all kinds of speaking opportunities. Apply now at speakertalentsearch.com. That's speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your message.
The Internet's #1 talk station. #1 talk station. VoiceAmerica.com.
Welcome back, everyone. I hope that you enjoyed those 2 minutes and took a moment to really feel into your heart and see what's being touched, what's being sparked as you listen to what Dr. Lori has shared with us, and thinking about how are you embodying grace and how are you listening to that prompting in your life? Wouldn't it be exciting to be part of global healing and to get healed in the process? I think that is so exciting. And the vision that she has and is bringing forward. So with that, I'd love for you to just share a little bit about what's in the book and what people can hopefully discover and learn from it. So we know there's a formula. We know it's about embodying.
Yes.
But I'd love for you to give just a little bit of a taste, and then I know you have a sample reading too.
Yes. So really what this book does is introduce you to the framework that I have been working with over the years in traumatized communities and in my spiritual mentoring practice. And so there's 3 methods. One is learning how to optimize your heart-brain-body connection. And this is very science-based. Basically, the Heart Math Institute has done very powerful research into how our physiology helps us access our highest human gifts. And I'll just leave that as a little, what am I trying to say, a crumb on the path. Because the next thing is the 5 stages of embodied grace, which I developed based on my own spiritual experience when I didn't really have a roadmap for what the spiritual journey was. And as much as I read, very high spiritual texts or whatever, I didn't really know where I was on my path or where I wanted to be. So the 5 stages of embodied grace give people that sense of where they are, where they want to be, and then the grace process formula is a formula for transcending our egos and living from that place of heart coherence, and that's what gets us from one stage of our spiritual journey to the next. And so this framework is what I've tested over 2 decades, and it allows people to navigate life challenges with a deeper trust in themselves, to have compassion for what we're experiencing, and a greater sense of connection to the divine. Now, I think there was a second question in there, Rebecca. But
no, this is perfect. I'm allowing everybody to just take in how much rich content and information and wisdom you have put in this book to really support them on their journey. And then the second part was, I know that you had prepared a sample reading just to give people a little bit of a taste. So I'd love for you to share.
Yes. So this is a story. It's not just a story. It's one of my Grace Process mentees who's been with me for a few years wrote something for the book to indicate how she has used the Embodying Grace framework. And I'd like to read that. Angela is from Australia and is a healthcare professional. And she says, learning about the Grace Process, understanding the 5 stages of embodied grace, and participating in the Grace-Filled Living Retreat and mentoring program have transformed the way I live. Before I became acquainted with Lori's work, I was feeling burdened and overly responsible, particularly in some of my relationships and in my work. My attitude was very judgmental around what was right and wrong, and I thought that I had to have all the answers. In my effort to protect and defend myself and others, I was trying to control everything, but having very little success. One of the pivotal things that working with the Grace Process showed me is that everything is a choice. What to do, what we do, how we are, where we look, how we see things. Recognizing that we can decide whether to be in the dream or the nightmare of life at any given time is very empowering. It means that I'm creating my life moment by moment and thereby also co-creating the world we are living in moment by moment. This has given me an enormous sense of freedom and hope. By letting go of perfectionism and the need to be right, I've been able to surrender to what is when there has been nowhere else to go. By recognizing when I'm living from my ego and choosing to live from my heart, I'm able to be fully present in the moment and live wholeheartedly and joyfully. I really knew I was embodying this work when I felt increasing trust in myself, in the divine one heart, and life in general. This became evident in my relationships when I was able to let go of attachment to how things should be and let people in my life be themselves, not necessarily who or how I wanted them to be. I trusted my inner knowing enough to leave the job that no longer served me and was able to sit in the mastery of the unknown about my future. I'm currently working on seeing the divine in everyone and everything, including myself. And the more I practice this, the more wonderful gifts and miracles unfold. Because the more I look, the more I find. I now find myself yearning for stillness and creating opportunities to sit in that space and to receive my own inner wisdom and guidance. Lori's mentoring program has created heart coherence among group participants, a grace community where we are able to acknowledge and support each other on this fabulous journey.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And this is just one of the stories that you have of lives touched, and how powerful your work is and how impactful. So I lift that up, and I thank her for sharing her story and for you sharing it with all of us, and her openness in what she's discovered and learned and now is being able to embody and be. I love it. Thank you.
So do I.
Well, I have a question. So your book, you decided to not just release it, not just publish it, but launch it out into the world. And in the beginning, I got to introduce you as #1 international best-selling author, which is super exciting and showing a global impact. But I wanted to peel back a layer a little bit and share with our listeners a breakdown of what you actually achieved, because it's pretty phenomenal. And to me, it really shows the reach, the need this book answered and said yes to reach the world. And that was just in the first, 24 hours of it going out into the world. It reached best-selling status in 8 countries, 109 categories, 109 best-selling categories between those 8 countries, with 43 of them ranking number 1. Huge success.
Now, that's a new one. I thought it was 37.
No, 43. We found some more when we did that double check. Yeah. So phenomenal results. Congratulations. And just when you take that in for a moment, how did it feel as that was happening and as it was going out into the world?
Oh, well, there that vulnerability comes in again, doesn't it? It was, but truly so exciting because, look, I mean, this is something I've held in my heart for a very long time, and my passion for wanting this work to be in the hands of as many people as possible came true that day. And just watching, like the election returns coming in, just so validating, really beyond measure. And that the title, #1 bestseller, is certainly amazing in itself. But when I look underneath, the real substance is getting the word out there into in as many people's hands as possible. And this launch helped do that in ways that were beyond my imagination.
I love it. And I always like to let people know it's the beginning. It's just the beginning.
Right, exactly. But don't tell them too quickly because they'll get tired.
Yeah, no. It does. There's a lot of energy. Fun and powerful, but yeah, a lot of energy. You're right. Pace the information.
Yes.
Oh, but I love that. And I love that you were able to impact so many so quickly and touch so many hearts and lives, and that you were willing to show up in a way and be vulnerable and share to let people know and to give people the opportunity to lean in. And congratulations again on your phenomenal results, and surprise on the 43 #1s. I'm excited. There were even more than you had known.
Like 37 wasn't enough?
Yeah, we want to be thorough. But I love, you're welcome. And just to me, when I see that, it's very exciting. And I love that you answered the call, because to get that kind of traction so quickly means that you were responding to a need that is timely and is now, and you leaned in and honored that. And people's lives are touched and have the opportunity to change and be impacted really, really deeply. So I just honor and celebrate that. And I'd love for you to take a moment as you reflect back on our conversation and looking at embodying grace. Is there something that just stands out in your heart and spirit that you want to share with our listeners, either about embodying grace or about their author's journey, either that is pulling at your heart? I'd love for you to share.
Well, I believe we come into this life with 2 purposes. The first purpose we all share, which is the need to heal the trauma wound of separation from the divine. And secondly, as we journey back to our connectedness with our own divinity, to find the unique expression of our own divinity. And that every single person's healing matters on this planet. Every single one of us has a role to play in evolving our world toward healing. And it's a role that only you can fulfill based on your unique divinity. And so imagine that everyone is living their divinity and being able to express their passions, whether it's a local form of expression with yourself and your loved ones, or a community-based expression in your profession, or as some people, my global expression of traveling around the world doing this trauma healing. Every single person on the planet has a role to play in healing. And so I just invite our listeners to think about whatever it is that you choose to heal in yourself. Sets up a resonance field for that healing to unfold in our world. So just imagine a world full of people who have the healing that you're seeking. And that's how we begin to realize that being in service to my own healing first is my greatest service work in the world.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. And congratulations again on your powerful success. And as people are just taking in your beautiful insight that you have shared and the wisdom in that, and how important it is that we do bring that healing forth in ourselves and then let it ripple out into the world. That's how we make the global difference, not the other way around. It's really important to remember. I'd love for you to share how people can connect with you. How can they go deeper? And can you remind us of your full book title, where we can access it, and any programs or things that we can be watching for?
Sure. So the book title is Embodying Grace, Trusting Yourself, Your Life, and Your Divinity. You can find out more about my work on my website, Dr. Dr. Lori, Lori, Leyden, Leyden.com. You'll see information about the book. Certainly it's available on Amazon and some other publishing sites. But the best way, and please, in the book, you'll receive a link to a beautiful meditation that I crafted specifically to accompany the book, along with some music and vocals from a very, very sacred artist to really bring the message that help people go deeper in their meditation. So if you buy the book, you'll get that link to the free meditation download. But I'm really excited about the next step, which is introducing the Embodying Grace Companion Journal, which offers you really a guide to how to use the book, how to record your blessings, your challenges, the grace that you're receiving. It's really a way to document your spiritual journey so that you can return to it over and over again to remember the truth of who you really are. You're connected to divinity, and that grace is possible in every moment, in every heartbeat, if we choose.
I love it. Well, I'm so excited for your journal as well. I've had the opportunity to see the advanced copy, and I know that those who lean in will be powerfully served. So excited for that coming out. And it's exciting that your book is in so many places for people to be able to lean in. And we're going to be continuing to follow you and all that you are bringing forward in the world. Thank you again. I know right after your launch, it's an especially busy time. So I so appreciate you carving out time to share with us while everything is fresh and rippling out into the world. So thank you again. I'm very honored to have you on the show today. And listeners, I want to thank you all for tuning in and leaning into the conversation. I hope you've taken some powerful notes to help support you on your journey, how you can embody grace more deeply, the importance of having healing start with you and then ripple out into the world. And isn't it beautiful that Dr. Lori has created a process, has brought that forward to help support you on your journey. We also have a gift that we would love to share with you called the Emerging Author Series. You can learn all the details at emergingauthorseries.com. It's a collection of books. They're one chapter at a time. They're chapter length, where we share tips and tools around publishing, frequently asked questions. I've got an idea. Now what? How do I structure things? What is this launching business? All those types of things. You can download as many of them as will support you on your journey. And that is our gift to you to support you in bringing your messages forward. So for those of you who have a calling on your heart to bring it forward, to touch more lives, I encourage you to find those next steps. And for all of us, let's take some time today to really breathe in heartbeat by heartbeat. I love how you shared that, Dr. Lori, that we have that available heartbeat by heartbeat, choice by choice, that we can allow the support and healing into our life. And that starts today, now, not someday, not eventually. Today we can take those steps. So I encourage you, connect with Dr. Lori, lean into this powerful book. And as you continue back into your day, I encourage you to keep reading, keep writing, and take those steps to bring the brilliance of you forward. That's how we make a big difference in the world, heart by heart, life by life. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to The Author's Journey. Please join Rebecca Hall Gruyter for another edition of the Author's Journey podcast every Monday on the Voice America Variety Channel. And until we talk again, use some of the tips and inspiration from today's show to guide you as you lean in to bringing your message forward.